Most of us don't know how to assemble our life puzzle. So today we're going to talk about a very simple tool that we can use to reframe how we relate to the past and how we interpret the present moment. I'm Ann Margaret with Raise the Vibration. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. I have a couple of pieces of symbolism on me I'll explain in a second. But this week was quite an interesting one. At the beginning of the week, I was in a near accident with two tractor trailers that had jackknifed on the highway up in the mountains, and also an 18-car pileup right behind me. And thankfully, Anthony and I were not hurt. But what was really interesting about this circumstance and going through this very traumatic event, we heard the pop, pop, pop behind us, almost like gunshots, as cars were just getting hit and hit and hit, and having to navigate our car up a little bit further so we wouldn't get hurt or our car get hit. And thank goodness, even though we didn't get hurt, it was very traumatizing, as you can imagine. So when things like this happen in our lives, how do we take them? How do we interpret them so that we don't live with this ongoing trauma and it build up, build up, build up, build up? So the moment that we got back from the mountains, the next morning I woke up and I was working around my apartment, and I looked out the window and there was another bald eagle just soaring right by my window. I put a lot of the symbolism of the bald eagle in the notes for today, but I have to say, this is the second time I've seen it since the beginning of the year. So on the very first day of the year, I saw a bald eagle fly about 10 feet, maybe even 7 feet away from my bedroom window. And while I was doing a live, it was quite extraordinary. And then I just saw it again this week. Another really cool thing why I chose the puzzle theme this week is that one of my favorite people, the second mother, Mrs. Linda King, who many of you know as a piano teacher, she was my piano teacher since age 5, she gave me a puzzle for Christmas. And I thought, oh my gosh, when am I going to have time to do this? And then this week I thought, this is going to be a great meditation. So I laid it all out yesterday and I started putting it together, and I thought, wow, there's so many parallels to doing this and to what I teach about and the personal coaching that I do with people. So as I'm assembling this 1,000-piece puzzle, I'm thinking, how does this relate to our lives? When we have things happen, like happened to me this week with this very near, very intense, traumatic accident, I think we have in the moment, we've got that puzzle piece to our whole puzzle of life. Like, how does it fit in that puzzle of life? And we sometimes get symbols from the world around us. Perhaps it's somebody that we meet who really influences us, or maybe you're scrolling past the YouTube channel or anything like that, and you click on a video and it inspires you in some way. But we always get these little pieces of the puzzle and we don't always know where to put them. I know when I was assembling this puzzle, I was like, oh, I don't know where everything goes. Obviously, it's 1,000 pieces. And if we think of our lives in a very similar way, we realize that sometimes these puzzle pieces will put in a certain way and they're not quite accurate. They're not quite accurately placed yet. So if we recognize that maybe later when we have a better perspective, that puzzle piece can be placed in a different area of our lives. This is called reframing. So I wore this jewelry today, quite pronounced, because of the animal symbolism of the eagle. Now, those of you who struggle with direct connection to source energy, or feeling like you're not clearly seeing in your life, like there's like brain fog and you don't know what is next for you, or you don't know really how to see something in your life that's very traumatic. The eagle archetype, or the eagle animal totem, there's animal symbolism, obviously. So the eagle animal symbolism is such that it is representational of our direct connection with God or source energy. It is the highest flying bird as well, which I think is so incredible. And it just, when you see it, if you've ever seen a bald eagle fly in the wild, it just soars, and it's just looking everywhere, obviously for prey, probably something to eat. And then it has such power. I just found out that the eagle, when it actually catches its prey, the jab of its talons are twice as powerful as a bullet from a gun. It's incredible, the power that's in nature. So if we remember to harness the wisdom of the eagle, that higher seeing place, that direct connection with God, that direct connection with with source energy or all-seeing oneness, then we can really harness this energy in our daily lives. And we need that higher seeing place when we're putting together the puzzle of our lives, right? So we might have that puzzle, and it's not, or that puzzle piece, like something that happened in your life. Think about something that happened a long time ago, that when it was happening, you were really upset about it. You thought this is absolutely devastating, and you didn't know how you're going to make it through or why it's happening to you. Okay? There are two great quotes I want to share with you. So get in mind what you thought, something that you went through, and then something that now you're saying, oh, I know why that happened. I know why that thing didn't happen, and why now I needed to go through that to be where I am now. It's that 2020 vision of this year that's going to be the theme throughout the entire 2020s, okay? So think about that thing. And now I want you to think of one thing in your life now that is challenging you in the same way. It's an undesirable outcome. It's an undesirable happening or happenstance that's happened recently in your life. Oh, thank you so much, Heather. Something that's happened recently in your life that you are really struggling with and you really wish didn't happen or isn't happening. Maybe you're struggling with your health or a relationship or your career. Got it? All right, you've got that one thing. Now I want you to just be with it and remember the other thing from your past that you now have 2020 vision about. You know where that puzzle piece belongs in your life puzzle. You see the role that it played in your life, that challenge, what it taught you, what blessings it brought, what perspective it brought so you could help somebody else or have more clarity. So this thing that you're struggling with right now is doing the same thing. It's doing the same thing. There's a great quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, is one of my favorites. And he says, his quote is, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is so true. If we can just in the moment shift our focus, then everything in our lives can also change. There's another great quote. I'm not sure who said this originally, but it says, life is happening for you, not to you. But don't we get caught in that victim archetype where we think, oh, this is happening to me. I really wish this weren't happening. And then we perpetuate this cycle of victimization, of self-victimization. And then unfortunately, we get trapped in that cycle of suffering. Okay, so remember that thing that you have in your life that's happening right now that's kind of undesirable. It could be a physical thing, an emotional thing, a relationship, a work thing, okay? I want you to think about what could, if you had that puzzle piece and you just placed it to the side, you had patience and had faith that whatever this was, it was happening for you, not to you. And if it was just a different perspective, like that eagle archetype, and these are little baby eagle feathers. These are little baby eagle feathers that were given to me when I opened our yoga studio in New York City. They were a gift from the Native American elder that blessed our yoga studio in Astoria as I began that venture of being the mama eagle, the mama bear of that community. So I wear these in reverence of that. And also this was also from a beautiful Native American in California. So the Native American spirituality is so, so incredible with teaching us about how to listen to nature. You guys, thank you so much for joining. Andrew, it's so great to see you, darling. So this little puzzle piece, why is this happening to me? Guys, this is life. This is going through human journey. If we can redefine our human journey and shift the way that we look at life, then we don't have to continue to suffer through it. Pain is inevitable. I know that's not a sexy thing to say, especially on a Saturday morning. Pain is inevitable in going through life. Suffering is optional. Okay, suffering is optional. So if we listen to these signs, like the baby eagle feathers, like just flapping these new wings, this higher seeing place of our lives, then we can recognize whatever this challenging thing is in our lives as happening for us, even though we may not know why it's happening. Oh, hey, Soy, all the way. Beautiful from Singapore. Hi, darling. So this particular thing that's happening in your life, I'm going to pull a couple cards just for us, some intuition cards, to help us connect with this energy of higher seeing, of clarity and direct connection to source energy. You do not need any intercessors. You don't need me. You don't need your priest. You don't need your leader. You don't need your teacher, your parents. They are all beautiful influences in our lives, not to disrespect, of course. But all of us, we usually forget that we have direct connection to that all-seeing place, that oneness, that universal consciousness, if we just zip our mouth, open our ears, breathe, and close our eyes. Okay, so if you want to do that right now while I pull these cards, just to receive that wisdom of your own, these cards are going to be different for all of you, and their meaning and their symbolism is going to hit each of you in different ways. So I want you to just listen and to receive the wisdom that comes from them, and I'll help us interpret them because I've been working with these for a long, long time. Okay, so what is that thing in your life that is struggling right now? How are you fitting that puzzle piece into the full gamut of that life puzzle picture? All right. So let me see here what we're going to pull for today. Okay, beautiful. So the card for today is Bridget, Don't Back Down. So this is a stand up for what you believe is right. So this might be, quite frankly, this is something that we need to connect with a lot in our lives, this energy of connecting with our truth, with our true inner voice, with that still small voice within that we've been talking about for so many years, so many decades, about how do we connect with that voice of intuition, the baby eagle, the representation of that higher seeing place, that bald eagle energy of connecting directly with the divine. So what is your truth? What are you not listening to that you need to start speaking out, or you need to start recognizing that you haven't been honest, you haven't been truthful with yourself or the people in your life? Great card for today. And then we'll pick an archetype card. So remember, as you're going to your weekend or your week ahead, and you're still working with this energy of how do you fit this particular challenging puzzle piece in your life picture. And the reason why we're talking about puzzling, if you're just joining me late here, is that I've been working on this 1,000-piece puzzle this week, which I haven't done probably in, oh my gosh, 30 plus years. I have not done a puzzle, but it really reminded me of this puzzle of our life. And it has a ton of white pieces that are all snow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how do I finish this? And I also had a near very traumatic experience with an accident up in the mountains involving 2 jackknife trailers and 12-car pileup. It was terrifying. Thankfully, we were okay, but we were right between those two scenarios, so it was very upsetting. But at the same time, it's like, well, what did that give me the opportunity to do? I got to spend more time with our godson up in the mountains and see him play hockey, and his little brother. We did some yoga. So life is happening for us, not to us. We have to remember that. Here's the archetype card. Oh, thief. This is a great one too. All right, so the thief archetype, the light attribute of the thief archetype. And remember, archetypes have a light attribute and a dark attribute, meaning that it can serve us in some ways, and then it can work against us in others, okay? Sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Stealing money is a shadow attribute. Creative ideas or affection or other powers you think you lack. That's the shadow aspect. So the thief is very much about recognizing that higher seeing that place. No one can touch our intuition. No one can touch our direct connection with source energy or God energy, that universal consciousness. So if we can close our eyes and receive that wisdom and directly connect to source, then we can access that thief archetype in the best possible way, that truth can never be stolen from us, okay? And we don't need it. It's all within us right here, okay? You guys, thanks so much for joining me. Remember, this is the year of clear seeing, clear sight, 2020, looking back and seeing how things are assembling in our beautiful life puzzle. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I work with people on life coaching. I work with couples. It's an absolute joy. I love it. So just message me and I'll put the images of the cards. I've also put some clear seeing oils in the notes for today as well. Okay? Thanks so much for joining me. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.